Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am your host, Saucy McFoodlefist, and today we're doing Have a Smoke With Me, episode 27. Have a Smoke With Me is officially old enough to commit suicide if you're Kurt Cobain. I don't know if that joke was in poor taste or if that even made sense, but we're on episode 27, and I have no idea. I have no idea what I want to talk about tonight. We're going to be smoking on some Camel Crush menthols because I ran out of Marlboro Bold Ice. I was in Idaho. Actually, I could probably talk about that, actually. I was in Idaho a couple of weeks ago for Thanksgiving, and I had a wonderful time. Oh, it was so much fun. Just to see my family and be around my niece and my nephew and my sister and my mom to a lesser extent. But, and my grandma and my uncle and my mom's husband, the whole family was down there. It was a great time. It's been a while. It's been about a month. Let's get up off the couch and get our stuff ready. It's been about a month since... also, never mind my flip-flops in the background. Grabbing the cigarette, my key card, and my keys. Grabbing the lighter, putting the cigarette behind my ear, because I'm cool like that. No, so it's been grabbing my keys again. I'm gonna open the door, which was already unlocked. That's unnerving. It's been about a month since I recorded one of these last, and that was when the whole Henry Ruggs DUI fatality thing came to light, and that was when the NA show, or NA Play, my show with Avery, was in its very early days. Now we're about a month, we're a little bit over a month old. And, hold on, I gotta open this door. We're a little over a month old. And, I mean, more and more, this shit is turning into, like, a business, Like... I'm really trying to create a brand, and I don't want to mention what I just did, but I'll mention what I just did. I just paid Instagram $5. I just crushed the menthol, by the way. I crushed the crush. I don't know if you heard it, but I just paid Instagram $5 to boost one of my posts. Sorry about that. That was a chair. To boost one of my posts. I don't know if it's gonna do anything, or if it was worth the $5. I've been spending money that I don't have, left and right, and it's gonna come back and bite me in the ass, because I haven't been working that much lately. I've been super lazy about work, and I haven't had the motivation. Well, first of all, my mental health has been shit this whole week. Hold on. I don't know what that noise is. I'm going to, my mental health has been shit, like, this whole week. And so I haven't wanted to do anything besides go to bed at 7 o'clock at night and wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna light the cigarette. it's been pretty rough. I felt better over the weekend, but it's because I've been abusing my medication. I felt great for the last couple of days, but it's because of medication abuse, and I know I know that I shouldn't do that, but the amount of medication, like the dosage that I'm on, is just too low. I need a higher dose of the medication for it to work. And I have a really high tolerance when it comes to drugs and alcohol. Like last night, we did a drunk stream on Twitch, and I drank 12 hard ciders, and I sort of blacked out at the end. So it's gonna be interesting to go back and watch the footage of that. But I sort of blacked out, but I didn't black out till the very end. And I drank those beers, or those ciders, like a champion. But I don't know, man. Okay, so going back to the last time I recorded one of these Have a Smoke With Me episodes, I was in a really dark place. Like I said, the fatal crash, the DUI fatal crash of the X-Raiders player, like, it really bummed me out, and it probably bummed me out for the entire month of November, and it still bums me out. Like, I still think about it on a daily basis. Like, I can't believe, and this is coming from someone who has driven under the influence himself. I've done it, and the reason why I took down those episodes is because I made jokes about it, and I don't want to take it lightly. Like, it's a very serious issue, and coming from someone who has experience committing that exact same crime, minus killing someone, it really affected me, and I'm sure it's affected a lot of people. And so I just felt like on my show with Avery that I haven't been as funny or as entertaining as I could be. And so I don't know. I feel like I'm snapping out of it though. Like, life goes on and stuff like that. So yeah, other than that, I was in Idaho. Came back. I was really depressed being back in Port Angeles. I mean, I probably shouldn't say where I live, but being back in a very isolated area of Washington, probably the most isolated area that you can possibly think of, in a rinky-dink, bumfuck, tiny-ass town filled with retirees and people with money. And it's just hard to be here. I mean, I was debating moving back to Idaho, trying to look at apartments and things that would work in my budget. But that didn't really go as well as I had hoped it would, and I didn't really look into it too much. But I mean, I'm sure there are options for me available. I just don't know how long it would take me to get into one of those apartments. So I might end up. That's someone's. That's someone's blinds. I might end up moving to Montana because I'm on a wait list for an apartment there, and I've been on the wait list there since May. And closer to my mom. I'd be in the same city as my mom. So that would be nice. And to be in a completely new place. Like, I've lived in Idaho before. I lived in Idaho for 7 years. And so, like, while it would be nice to be close to my sister and her kids, I mean, I've been to Idaho. Like, Montana would be a whole new adventure, which I like adventure, and I like moving to new places, and I like being in places I've never been before, and that's part of the reason why I moved to Washington in the first place. You know, a new adventure. But the adventure wasn't all that great, to be honest with you. I wish I would have stayed in Idaho a bit longer and moved into some apartments in Idaho Falls instead of coming up here to Washington, because as soon as I moved to Washington, like, I got calls from Idaho saying my apartments were ready, but I was already moved into Washington and had been for a couple of months. So I was like, well, I can't take those apartments because I just signed a lease here and I've been here ever since. I'm going on 3 years. Next May, it'll be 3 years since I've lived in Washington, which is crazy to think about how time flies. It doesn't feel like it's been here. I don't feel like I've been here for 3 years. Excuse me. I mean, I guess we're really sitting on 2.5 years. But, I mean, next May is gonna come in the blink of an eye. And I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy to think about. There's a lot going on with my family right now as far as, like, financial changes, and people are moving houses. My grandma's moving into a new house. My sister might be moving into a new house and out of the bus, and I wanted to live in my sister's bus, but she told me that I couldn't for at least 18 months, so I could stick it out here in Washington for the next 18 months and then possibly go move into the bus. But I just don't know. My mom says it's not a good idea to be that close to family. Like, you want a little bit of separation, but I don't know, man. Like, I think I'd be okay with it, other than the fact that I have no room for my computer and all my recording equipment and things like that. So, I don't know. I hope you're enjoying the ambient sounds of the curtains blowing in the wind. They're really distracting and annoying me. We're almost done with the cigarette, by the way. Probably about 2 puffs left. Let's take another one. And we'll take the last puff and stamp out the cigarette. I still have a smoker's cough. Even though I haven't been sick in quite some time. I'll take you back into my apartment. We'll finish up the video there with my final thoughts. Opening the door. Walking down the hallway. as much as I hate to say it, let me put down my shit and take off my shoes. As much as I hate to say it, because I don't want to sound unrealistic, but I really wish, in my heart of hearts, that I could make this YouTube video game ASMR vlog channel into something that grows exponentially. I know not a lot of people are interested in watching someone play video games, and that's evidence by the fact, I mean, maybe it's because the market is oversaturated. There are plenty of famous gamers, streamers, that you log into Twitch, and there's 5 people on the front page with hundreds, if not thousands, of people watching them, and it's a highly competitive industry, and, you know, it's like saying I want to be famous, you know, like, what are the odds of you becoming famous? Basically nothing, but guess what? What are the odds of you being alive? They're practically zero. I told that to Avery the other day, and she was like, well, what do you think they're gonna say to test tube babies? Like, and that's the other thing that really depresses me and has put me in a funk over the last week. Is like just the state of the world. I spent a lot of time on Reddit reading conspiracy theories and things like that, and with COVID and the government and just everything else that's going on right now. Like, it's all one giant conspiracy, and it's really depressing. Like, I feel bad for the younger generation who has to grow up in a world that is just getting worse and worse and worse, as far as I can tell. I mean, I'm sure in excuse me, I'm sure in some ways the world has improved and been made a better place in certain areas, but by and large, I feel like things are trending in the wrong direction, and I wish that we could go back to, or I don't even know go back to, because I don't know what things were like back, you know, before I was born, or even, I don't know what things were like in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, and before that. I mean, like, I don't know what life was like, but it seems to me that life was more manageable back in those days, despite racism, despite sexism, despite never-ending wars, which we still experience to this day, by the way. But despite all that, it seemed like life, I mean, at least for your average white people, was pretty, I wouldn't say good, but like it was just more manageable. Like, you didn't have to jump through like so many hoops, and you didn't have to get lucky to be successful. I mean, it almost seems like, you know, you can get all the education and job training in the world, but you also have to be lucky enough to find a job that you can tolerate and that pays well and that gives you benefits, and, you know, maybe if you're lucky, you'll be able to support a kid or two, or maybe even more, depending on, you know, I mean, there was a guy on Reddit the other day who posted his salary. His salary was $92,000 a year, and I'm like, man, what I could do with $92,000 a year? You could raise a family of 3, you know, just off that alone. But then again, you'd have to go to work day in and day out and possibly do something that you don't want to do, that makes you miserable, but you do it anyway to put food on the table for your ungrateful kids who you're trying to make into decent people. But, it's a total crapshoot when it comes to raising kids. You never know how they're going to turn out. And you never know how you're going to be or react as a parent. And, I was talking to my therapist about this, that, someone that I know, my nephew's dad passed away recently, and apparently when he passed away, his girlfriend was pregnant, and, so she just had the baby, and she was addicted to methadone, so the baby was addicted to methadone and had to stay in the hospital for 10 days, and blah, 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 and we were just talking about the father, like how selfish could a person be, that they don't take care of themselves. And he never raised any of his kids, by the way. He had 4 kids. He never raised any of them. And now he's dead. So 4 people in this world grew up without their father. And just because he couldn't pull out. He couldn't get a vasectomy. I know Ashley wanted to have a kid with him, my sister. So, that's a different story. But, it's just a sad situation because when you grow up without a father, it severely impacts, you as a developing child / teenager / young adult. It severely affects you. And I know Wyatt, my nephew, has a stepdad who is, I'm hoping, and I don't know much about him. I've only interacted with him a little bit, but I'm hoping he's doing at least a halfway decent job raising my nephew. But, you never know. And I hope that not only my sister's kids in particular, but the younger generation in general, I hope that they turn out all right. And I hope that this country turns out all right. And I hope that we can all have some common sense and do what's best for ourselves and the planet and stability and the economy and climate change. I don't know. I might be a climate change denier because the Earth has gone through so many cycles and, different things like that. So I'm not 100% on board with whether or not I believe climate change is really caused by human beings, or if there's anything that we can do about it, or if that's just the way the world works, and that's how, the climate changes, and that's just how the Earth is, and how the Earth adapts to whatever life cycle that it's going through, because the Earth is alive. That's a great song, by the way, The World is Alive or something, by Ezra Furman. I don't remember, it was a long time ago when I heard him. I used to be obsessed with music, and I used to be obsessed with following bands around and traveling with them to go see, shows, all over the country, and I got real close to a couple of, indie rock, in the indie rock scene, back 10 years ago, to the point where I was I wanted to manage a band, and I did. I found a band online, and I went to their show one time, and I saw them perform, and I was like, hey, can I manage you guys? Basically, long story short, it's hey, can I manage you guys? And they were I said, do you have a manager? And they were no. Well, can I manage you guys? And so I ended up working with them and for them to book gigs and to get their music out there on the internet for people to listen to. And it was a really interesting time in my life. And some of the bands that I listened to personally, like that were actually like semi-famous, I got in contact with them and had phone conversations with them about trying to get this band to tour Europe, because Europe is where it's at when, as far as like indie music goes. Like if you want to like make money as an indie band, you tour Europe. They take music way more seriously. Music in Europe is like sports in America. People in America, it's like football. Like people are so obsessed with football in America. Well, that's how Europeans are with music, and festivals and things like that. And like, I think about that from time to time, how COVID has really screwed up the music and live performing industry. Even though I went to a concert back in October, and it was a really great concert, other than the fact that I had to wear a mask, and other than the fact that I had to get double vaccinated to do so. I'm now like on the anti-vax train, and like I don't want to get my booster shot or the endless subscription to boosters every 3 months, and these are the conspiracy people talking. But anyway, I guess I'm gonna wrap up this episode on that note. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, or don't. I don't give a shit, and I'll see you all in the next one. And goodbye, everyone.